Well, China waited for the right moment, saw that Donald Trump was struggling with the war in the Middle East, and together with Pakistan proposed a peace plan for the US and Iran. Yes, you heard that right. China and Pakistan presented a plan to stop the war in Iran with an immediate ceasefire and, importantly, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. And right now, it looks like China might be the force that brings order to the Strait of Hormuz and restores oil exports for the monarchies of the Persian Gulf. And Donald Trump will be remembered as the American president who started a war but couldn't finish it to his advantage. China's plan involves quickly ensuring the safe passage of civilian and commercial ships and restoring normal traffic through the Strait of Hormuz and, importantly, Iran. There was partial agreement with this scenario. What do you think of this turn of events? My name is Pechii. Let's discuss this topic together, but before we start this episode, as usual, I ask you to support the work of this YouTube channel with your donation or a channel membership using the links and details in the description of this video. I will be grateful for any support from you, and you can do this at the end of the episode if you find it interesting and useful. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel. This is Pechii News. The link is in the video description. So, I'll start the episode with some context about what's happening. Today, Donald Trump surprised many by stating that the US could end the war against Iran within 23 weeks, even without reaching a deal with Tehran, which he had been trying to make for over a year. Remember, basically they were negotiating before the war, then they failed to sign the deal, and Trump said, okay, let's start the war. Now the war is at a stalemate, and he says, we can do it without a deal, we'll just leave. That's it. Quote, "We will do this very soon, and then they will start to fall rapidly. I think we will leave within 23 weeks because there is no reason for us to be involved in this." Is a diplomatic solution, meaning a deal, a necessary condition for ending the military actions? No, they don't need to make any deal. According to Trump, the US has already achieved the goals set before the airstrikes on Iran began, and now the US is simply finishing the job. At the same time, Trump added that he did not intend to overthrow the current regime in the country, but it just happened. Quote, "They had a regime change. Regime change was not among the goals I set. I had one goal: they will not have nuclear weapons. And that goal has been achieved." Then Trump added that the US is not going to have anything to do with the situation in the Hormuz Strait, which Tehran is blocking. What's happening with the strait? We are not going to have anything to do with it. There is no reason for us to get involved in this, Trump said. He noted that other countries can take care of themselves if they want to get oil and gas from the Middle East. Although I would like to remind you that Trump 3 times, starting from March 21st, set strict deadlines and ultimatums for Iran to open the Hormuz Strait and threatened to wipe Iran off the map if they did not open the Hormuz Strait. Well, now Trump has basically stated that he is unable to solve this problem, so he will simply walk away. Do you remember those ultimatums? First, there was a 48-hour deadline, then an extra 5 days, and then another 10 days added. And now the third deadline is up, and Trump says, whatever, don't open the strait, we're just leaving. Forget it. Forget that I was banging my fist on the table so fiercely, shouting 48 hours if you don't open the strait, I'll bomb all of Iran. Then 48 hours pass, and Trump says, well, okay, another 5 days. I'll definitely bomb. Another 5 days pass, and Trump says, okay, another 10 days, but this time, if, God forbid, you don't unblock it, I'll definitely bomb. The 10 days end, and Trump says, okay, we'll just leave, you don't have to open anything, and then suddenly China steps in, which was just waiting for this perfect moment. China and Pakistan presented a plan to stop the war in Iran with an immediate ceasefire and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. A draft agreement consisting of 5 points was put forward on Tuesday after the visit of Pakistan's Foreign Minister Muhammad Ishaq Qadar to Beijing and his meeting with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. Both countries called for negotiations to end the US-Israeli operation against Iran, which has been ongoing for the 5th week. The plan calls for the prompt provision of safe passage for civilian and commercial vessels and the restoration of normal traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. In addition, China's initiative provides for an immediate cessation of hostilities and the provision of humanitarian aid to all areas affected by the war. The prompt start of peace negotiations based on respect for the independence and security of Iran and the countries of the Persian Gulf, and also a commitment to refrain from the use or threat of use of force during peace negotiations. Cessation of attacks by all parties to the war on energy facilities, desalination plants, peaceful nuclear facilities, including nuclear power plants, conclusion of an agreement to establish a comprehensive peace mechanism based on the UN Charter and international law. In Pakistan, which is currently acting as a mediator between Iran and the US, it was stated that this is certainly a balanced initiative which is supported by Pakistan, China, and even partially by Iran. Interestingly, when Trump was asked about this China-Pakistan peace initiative, he simply brushed it off and said that his own unclear personal negotiations with Iran are, quote, going great. Next, in a statement published by the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Wang Yi, who addressed his colleague from Pakistan, said that Beijing is ready to cooperate with Islamabad for, quote, overcoming difficulties, removing obstacles, ending hostilities as soon as possible, creating opportunities for peace, and opening a window for peace talks. But that's not all. It seems that some countries in the region are now turning back to cooperation with China rather than with the US. Let me explain. The trip of Pakistan's Foreign Minister Mohammad Ishaq Qadar to Beijing took place after Pakistan held talks with Turkey, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia on Sunday, and also after Trump's warning that the US would destroy Iranian oil wells and power plants and that the Hormuz Strait would not be open. Few people still believe Trump's ultimatums, and I don't think Trump believes them either. Earlier, Arab officials told the Wall Street Journal that the Emirates, which are being targeted by Iran's missile and drone strikes, have begun urging the US, European, and Asian countries to form a coalition to unblock the Hormuz Strait by military force. The Emirates say they're done playing games. According to the sources, the Emirates are ready to go to war against Tehran in order to resume movement through the strategic waterway. But at the same time, Trump comes out and unexpectedly claims that Iran supposedly asked him for a truce, even though Tehran never mentioned this. Iranian President Pezeshkian stated that they are ready to end the war, but only if all 5 of Tehran's conditions are met. And these conditions are as follows: complete cessation of aggression and terror from the opposing side, the creation of clear mechanisms guaranteeing that war will not be imposed on Iran again, guaranteed and transparent payment of losses and compensation incurred as a result of the war, ending the war on all fronts and for all resistance groups involved in the conflict throughout the region. That is, it means that security guarantees are not only for Iran, but also for Hamas in the Gaza Strip, the Houthis in Yemen, and Hezbollah in Lebanon, also for Iran's so-called axis of resistance. And most importantly, the 5th point is international recognition and guarantees of Iran's right to sovereign control over the Strait of Hormuz. This is the key demand. In fact, before the war, Iran did not have full and exclusive control over the Strait of Hormuz. As a result of the war, Iran says everyone must recognize that the Strait of Hormuz is exclusively ours. It is our property. We'll decide who pays and how much to pass through the strait and when to open or close it. That's how Trump ended up after all his fighting. And China says, listen, so let's resolve this issue on our turf after all. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, I would be grateful. You can do this through the links and details in the description of this video. There are different platforms there. Buy me a coffee, Patreon, PayPal, bank details, cryptocurrencies, YouTube sponsorship. Choose any option that's convenient for you. I would appreciate your support. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.